Mabuhay from the beautiful city of Manila. I'm back for the channel Fragrance RX, and today I'll be doing an unboxing and first impressions of these fragrances from the house of Rirana Parfume. Is none other than the Rirana Parfume Discovery Set, Set C. So guys, wanna find out how these fragrances smell? I'm so eager to open this fragrance, so without further ado, let's go! Alright, before we begin, we'll be opening this package right here using my handy dandy knife. What we have here, it's the discovery set of Rirana Perfumes. Rirana Parfums right here. Now I'll be also opening this one right here. Alright, so we have here Coconut Nanas. Now, I will not open this Coconut Nanas right now. First, we will focus with this discovery set right here by Rirana Parfums. So what are we waiting for? Let's open this package right now. Now we have here, as we can see in front, Rirana Parfums right here. It comes in this wooden case, very sturdy case, and it has this rope right here, very native looking. So this is apparently their Set C, their newest discovery set. Now I got this for about $24 US, 100 Malaysian ringgit. So that's roughly about 1,200 pesos here in the Philippines. So very cheap price. And considering that amount, you will already have 11 3ml vials of their fragrance selections right here. These fragrances by the house of Rirana Parfums are very affordable. You can get their fragrance for not an expensive price. Very cheap fragrances. Okay, so let's open this Rirana Parfume first, the discovery set. It's kind of shaking, I think, so I hope they're not disarranged. Okay. And you'll be the first one to see what's inside. Wow. Guys, just look at that. All their fragrance selections in this sturdy box right here. So let's now smell these fragrances by the house of Rirana Parfums. What are we waiting for? Let's go! This will be quite a long video because we will be doing a first impressions of this 11 fragrances. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. 11 fragrances. So let's get right into it. So first we have here Iris Ambrette right here. Iris Ambrette. So this has the notes of iris, ambrette, lavender, cedarwood, and vetiver. Handcrafted in our lab with the finest ingredients. Alright, so when it comes to iris, I'm a big fan. I'm a huge fan of iris. And right off the bat, definitely I bought Iris Ambrette. But it will take a long time before that bottle arrives. So luckily, I will now be able to smell because I can't wait to smell this Iris Ambrette. Now, I don't have a brain paper already. I already ran out, so I'll be spraying it in this sticky note, on this sticky note right here. So, Iris Ambrette. There you go. Iris Ambrette. Ambrette. Alright. Wow. Right off the bat, I can already smell Dior Homme vibe. I already took out the bottle because I know that I'll be comparing this Iris Ambrette to this Dior Homme. Alright, so it has this very warm, lipsticky vibe. Lipsticky, sticky vibe. And yes, guys, it really is at the same ballpark with this Dior Homme. I'll be spraying this Dior Homme for comparison. So this Dior Homme is one of my favorites from the Dior Homme house, Dior Homme line. And I think this will be a good alternative. Yeah, they smell really the same, guys. They're at the same ballpark. This Iris Ambrette somehow has a rougher vibe than the Dior Homme. This is Dior Homme. This Dior Homme is Iris and Cacao and lipsticky vibe, but it's more, it has a vibrant vibe into it. It's like a piercing iris. It has a piercing iris note. This Iris Ambrette has, it has the Dior Homme vibe, that lipsticky, waxy vibe, but it has this somehow rougher vibe into it. I don't know what that is. That roughness that I can detect in this Iris Ambrette. And comparing it with Dior Homme Intense right here, I'll spray this Dior Homme Intense right there. So, no, guys, this Iris Ambrette is more on the Dior Homme vibe rather than the Dior Homme Intense vibe. Yeah, because this Dior Homme Intense has more leather into it, is more waxier than the Dior Homme. So this is Iris Ambrette and Dior Homme. Yes, guys, they're at the same ballpark. Now, if you're wondering what's the oil concentration of these fragrances right here, I think it's about 60% oil, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think it's 60% oil, so you'll definitely get good performance with these fragrances right here. Next, we have Vanilla Tobacco right here. Now, Vanilla Tobacco has the notes of sweet tobacco and tobacco, vanilla, cacao, and tonka bean. So let's see if this has a Tom Ford Tobacco Vanilla vibe. Vanilla Tobacco here on my sticky note. There, sticky note. Alright. It's not Tom Ford Tobacco. It's not a clone of Tom Ford Tobacco Vanilla. Right off the bat, it's not Tom Ford Tobacco Vanilla clone. It's a very sweet fragrance. It has this very smooth tobacco vibe into it. Very sweet tobacco vibe. This is not a clone of Tom Ford's Tobacco Vanilla, but it smells really awesome, guys. It also has this somehow bubblegummy vibe into it. This Vanilla Tobacco. I like this. I like this Vanilla Tobacco. Smooth, sweet tobacco, vanilla, bubblegummy vibe. That's how I will describe this Vanilla Tobacco right here. Now let's go to the third fragrance we have here. Black Wood. Right here. Black Wood. Now this has the notes of sandalwood, rosewood, cardamom, tonka bean, oud, and amber. And they say that this smells similar with Tom Ford's Oud Wood. Now I have here Oud Wood. So we will compare these two fragrances. I'll be spraying this Black Wood again here on my sticky note. Alright. Yeah, the oud is really detectable in the opening of this fragrance. This oud is more at the sweeter side. It's not that pungent. I can smell something like a menthol vibe in this black wood. So it's more of like oud with a touch of sweetness and a little bit of menthol vibe into it. Okay, so let's now spray this oud wood and compare if they have similarities. Tom Ford's Oud Wood. Alright, guys. they have similarities. This Black Wood and Tom Ford's Oud Wood. They're at the same ballpark. Now this Black Wood somehow has a fresh vibe into it as well. Tom Ford's Oud Wood is stronger, has the stronger oud note compared with this Black Wood. And yes, the woody vibe is now starting to come out in this Black Wood right here. I can clearly appreciate that menthol vibe in this Black Wood. And it is at the same ballpark with this Tom Ford's Oud Wood. Alright, so that's Black Wood. Next we have here Spices Oud. Right here, Spices Oud. Now this Spices Oud has the notes of oud, cinnamon, gaiac wood, pink pepper, and vetiver. Alright, so let's spray this now here on my sticky note. Spices Wood. Alright. So this Spices Wood is a lighter version of this Black Wood. It's a lot sweeter compared with this Black Wood, but definitely you can appreciate that oud note in this Spices Oud. Yeah, the cinnamon is that note which adds sweetness to this fragrance. The pink pepper is somehow at the background, but the main notes that I can detect in this Spices Oud are oud. especially oud, of course, and the cinnamon, which adds sweetness to this fragrance. So that's 4 spices oud. It's a sweeter version. It has this sweeter vibe compared with black wood, and I think I might get this one. This spices oud. Let's go now to the 5th fragrance we have here, Oriental Orchid, right here. Now this Oriental Orchid has the notes of orchid, white flower, tuber, patchouli, cacao, and incense. So let's spray this bad boy right here. Right there. And guys, I know this smell. This smells like Tom Ford Black Orchid on that initial mist, on that initial blast. Now I will also spray this Black Orchid for comparison's sake, because of the name, Oriental Orchid and Black Orchid. So let's see if they have similarities. So this Tom Ford Black Orchid is very much known for its truffle note, that very dominant truffle note, floral and truffle note. While this, alright. So at the initial spray, that initial blast, I can clearly detect that Tom Ford Black Orchid vibe. But as it settles down in this paper, it develops into this much of a floral vibe. This doesn't have any truffle into it, so I can't detect the truffle vibe in this Oriental Orchid. And this Oriental Orchid, yes, I can detect the Black Orchid vibe into it, and you add lots of florals into it. That's how this Oriental Orchid smells like. The orchid note, guys, really smells good, really smells pleasant. I don't see this as another alternative to Tom Ford's Black Orchid because they're only similar at the initial blast, that initial spray, but again, as it settles down into this paper, the florals starts to dominate in this fragrance. That orchid note starts to dominate, and it deviates away to that Tom Ford Black Orchid vibe. Now let's go now to this 6th fragrance we have here, Honey Amber. Right here, Honey Amber. So it has the notes of honey, amber, cinnamon, vanilla, patchouli, and oud. Alright, I'll spray this Honey Amber. There, Honey Amber. Alright, I was deceived by the name. I thought this will be an amber, honey and amber dominant scent. But the oud, the oud is the dominant note in this fragrance. Oud is the dominant note in this Honey Amber. Where's the honey? Maybe as this fragrance develops, we will appreciate that honey and amber vibe. But at the initial spray, at the initial blast, it's more of oud, guys. Now the amber starts to come out in this fragrance. So you will just have to wait a few minutes from the initial spray, and you'll now appreciate that amber vibe into it. That waxy, resinous vibe that this fragrance has. So yes, at the initial blast of this Honey Amber, it's not honey amber, it's oud. It's an oud dominant scent. But as this fragrance settles down in this paper, the amber will start to come out in this fragrance. I don't know about the honey, but this fragrance is oud and amber dominant scent. Let's go now to the next fragrance we have here, Salty Citrus. Salty Citrus right here. Right there. Salty Citrus, and it has the notes of grapefruit, lime, bergamot, sage, basil, iris, and vetiver. So I think this will be more of a summer fragrance. It's a fresher take on their fragrance lineup. Salty Citrus. Alright, Salty Citrus. Oh wow. Now this one I like. Guys, it's fresh. It screams freshness. This Salty Citrus. I don't get much of that salty vibe. This salty citrus doesn't have much of that salty vibe. I was expecting that this fragrance will have more of like a Millicent Imperial vibe or an Armaf Milestone vibe. But no, guys. It's like you've just showered. Pretty awesome, guys. I really love the scent of this fragrance. A very versatile scent. It also has some sort of Dior Homme Cologne vibe. Dior Homme Cologne, because I think of the line. It doesn't have salty vibe into it at all. Maybe at the development of this fragrance, as this fragrance develops. But at the initial spray, guys, it's a really fresh, pleasant smell. Bergamot, grapefruit. You combine those fresh notes, guys. you should have this fragrance. Salty citrus. I will definitely buy this fragrance, guys. Perfect for the hot weather. Perfect for the Philippine climate. So next we have here, Plum Rose. Next fragrance, Plum Rose. So this fragrance has the notes of plum, rose, raspberry, melon, patchouli, amber, and cloves. Alright. Plum Rose. Alright. Rose. It's a rose bomb. It's very fruity. It's very floral scent, this Plum Rose. Yes, this Plum Rose has a sweet, floral, fruity vibe into it. I like this scent. I'm starting to like the fragrance lineup of this of Rirana. For the women out there, you should get this Plum Rose. Really refreshing, really invigorating scent. It will freshen up your day, of course. Next we have here, Wood Cereal. Wood Cereal right here. Now, I'm really much anticipating this fragrance because it's getting a lot of hype in the fragrance community. So it has the notes of oat, wheat, oud, sandalwood, dried fruits, benzoin, peat, and spicy notes. So let's smell this Wood Cereal. I can't wait to smell this fragrance. Alright, Wood Cereal. Alright, so it's a very woody scent. I'm expecting that this has some oatmeal vibe in the opening, but it's a very woody scent. I was expecting that based from the reviews of other fragrance reviewers and other people who bought this Wood Cereal, you will detect that oat vibe. It's like you're eating an oatmeal, but at the initial spray of this Wood Cereal, it's a very woody scent. The main notes that I'm detecting are sandalwood and oud. A little bit of oud. It's not that harsh. You will appreciate that sandalwood vibe. Alright, so that's Wood Cereal, a very, very woody scent. Sadly, I can't detect that oat vibe that this fragrance has in its name. Maybe at the development of this fragrance, we will smell that oat, that cereal vibe in this Wood Cereal. Alright, this fragrance, I'm really anticipating this fragrance as well. Coconut Nanas. Now, I think Nanas is Malay term for pineapple. One of the hype fragrance in the fragrance community. It's getting a lot of attention in the fragrance community. So it has the notes of coconut, pineapple, peach, tiara, saffron, frangipani, did I pronounce it right? Frangipani, and musk. So, coconut nanas. Nanas is not bananas, guys, because I've watched other fragrance reviewers and they thought that this coconut nanas has bananas. It's not bananas, guys. Nanas means pineapple in Malay, pineapple. So let's spray this coconut nanas here on my brain paper. Oh, wow. It's a very sweet fragrance. This coconut nanas is a very sweet fragrance. You might want to be careful with the trigger of this fragrance because I think this will be too cloying if you overspray this fragrance. So the main notes that I can appreciate in this fragrance are coconut, of course, coconut. Pineapple, well, yes, that pineapple vibe, but the pineapple vibe in this coconut nanas is nothing close to Aventus, Creed Aventus. It's not a Creed Aventus clone, guys. Don't be mistaken. This coconut nanas is not a Creed Aventus clone. Very sweet fragrance. Somehow it's at the borderline cloying. So again, you might want to be careful with the trigger of this coconut nanas. I like this fragrance. A pretty tropical vibe. Guys, imagine yourself at the beach drinking a whole coconut juice. That's how I can smell this fragrance. Yeah, very tropical smelling coconut nanas. I'm pretty much happy with this coconut nanas right here. I'll definitely recommend this fragrance, coconut nanas. So last but not the least, the latest release of Rirana Parfums, we have here Cherry on Top. Cherry on Top. Now this is an exclusive edition. And I also love the cherry note, guys. And when I've heard that they release a cherry dominant scent, I must have it. But first, I need to test it first because I already bought 2 bottles and I don't as much as possible, I don't want to blind buy. So luckily, thank God, Rirana produced this whole lineup in a discovery set. Cherry on top. Oh, by the way, the notes of this fragrance are cherry, vanilla, caramel, tea, chestnut, amber, white musk, jasmine, and suede leather. Weird because the main note that I can detect in this fragrance is the leather right away. Vanilla is also there, and the cherry. So the main notes that I can detect in the initial spray of this cherry on top are cherry, vanilla, and leather. Now that leather somehow add balance to this fragrance, because if you put cherry and vanilla, this fragrance will be too cloyingly sweet, and that leather, that suede leather, makes the balance in this fragrance. Wow, I love this scent, guys. Cherry on top. Oh, this fragrance really smells good. Perfect combination. Cherry, vanilla, leather. And I can also detect that little bit of caramel into it. So yes, this fragrance is not that cloyingly sweet. Again, sweet because of the cherry, vanilla, caramel. But the leather adds balance to this fragrance. Guys, really sexy scent. I will get this fragrance right here. Yeah, I love this fragrance. I will definitely recommend this fragrance. Perfect. I see this as a perfect date scent as well. Cherry on top. Alright, so we're now done with my first impressions with regards to this 11 fragrances by the House of Rirana. Now, I'll be ranking these fragrances. I'll be choosing my top 3 fragrances. Alright, so this will be very difficult, but I've made up my mind. So my top 3 will be Salty Citrus. I really love that very fresh vibe that this Salty Citrus has. The word salty is a misnomer because I can't detect any salty vibe at all, maybe as this fragrance develops. But this fragrance really has this very fresh vibe, which is perfect for the Philippine climate, Philippine weather. Next, top 2, Cherry on Top. Of course, guys, I really love this fragrance. Love at first sniff. This fragrance right here. Oh wow. Cherry on top. That cherry, caramel, vanilla with a touch of leather. Perfect combination. Perfect date scent. I see this as a perfect date scent. Alright, and my top 1. Of course, I'm a big Iris fan. And my top 1 will be Iris Ambrette. Right here. Guys, I can't wait for my full bottle to arrive. This fragrance has that lipsticky vibe. And it's at the same ballpark with Dior Homme Intense, but I can see that this fragrance will last longer than these 2 fragrances right here. Because this fragrance has a lot of oil into it. Imagine, you use the Dior Homme Intense vibe, you added a lot of oil into it. Guys, it will last a lifetime. That's how I can see this fragrance. So that's it, guys. You saw my unboxing, you heard my first impressions of these fragrances from the house of Rirana Parfume. Do you know this house? Have you heard of this house, Rirana Parfume? And which fragrance are you planning to buy in the near future? Again, leave your comments down below and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, Fragheads RX, and hit the notification bell down below. Again, this is Wedson for the channel Fragheads RX, your fragrance doctor. See you in the next video. Have a nice day and stay fragrant!